I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving! The show goes on! This is my home!
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Say hello to my little friend! It's a man, baby! Fuck you, retard!
Oh, behave. Yeah. Why so serious?
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
I am Iron Man.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Welcome to the Man Show / Wrestling Review Show, because this is going to be a special show where two birds with one stone, because there's a lot we're going to talk about when it comes to things that happened this week and talking shit about somebody that's thinking they're in the fucking industry and thinking they know shit that they don't know. And we're going to use this as a time to shit on people. So it's kind of being a two kind of show. We're going to go over to wrestling, plus it's going to be in the spirit of the Man Show where we go off into different subjects as well. By the way, I'm Cab Manning. He's Billy Body. What's happening, Billy?
Oh, just did it. As I thought you were going to have a longer intro because your intro was already longer, and I shoved a whole handful of peanuts in my mouth.
You said peanuts, right? Just so we got that correct.
You know, when someone's talking, like, you know, everybody eats on the fucking podcast.
Sure.
And it's like, and you're always trying to, like, time out those gaps.
Yeah, I usually do it with a drink. That's my fucking thing.
The worst timing I've ever had. Because I podcasted with you for years, and I figured we had about 30 seconds to go there.
I'd be yammering for a while, and then blast it out. So,
I'm expecting a real promo there.
Well, we'll have shit to talk about, which is very funny because last week we mentioned an old fucking worn out show that Billy used to be on, and
let me also tell you why we're doing this, why I feel like, why I'm allowing this as well, because we came into this through the NFL season, and now we're going to hit the stride and carry on through and do a more of a normal show, as in you're going to get a real feel for what the format is. But if you're brand new, you won't know where we came from. So like, we sort of jumped in straight with Ryan and Sean, and then you learned a little bit there in terms of how we got into this position and how this Man Show even started.
Ryan and Sean from
the Sports Gambling Podcast. But it was more about those guys and their show and my job on that show. But in terms of me starting afresh from podcasting from day one, that was actually done through the Steel Cage. And then the evolution of that is getting a job on the Sports Gambling Podcast. Then there was me moving away from the Steel Cage to do the Dirty Sheets, but still having a relationship with him. And then off the Dirty Sheets spun this show, because the most popular show on the Dirty Sheets was Wrestling Therapy, which was similar to the show that Cav does. And Cav now barely does a wrestling show. And I would rather not do a wrestling show and just do this show. But I mean, I'm so loyal to the wrestling, mainly because of this war that I'm in with these assholes, and I refuse to not be the last man standing. So within the confines of all of that, you will learn how we came to be and how this show started in terms of the infancy of that, and you'll be brought up to speed in the process. So that's why I kind of also agree to it, because it does take you from beginning to this point. And you'll get to hear about a feud with a petty little man. I mean, the thing is, it doesn't even all have to be wrestling centric, because this guy,
really not,
for some reason, actually works as a sports journalist.
That fucking baffles my mind. Where I'm like, I mean, I
this
credit
guy's
where
ever
it's
played
fucking
this
due. That's a real fucking job. But then again, I don't know how much of a job I don't know what his job entails. So it might sound 100 times better than it is. Like, I work for this where it's like, you're a filer.
I could go on my Twitter today and put like creative contributor to @WWE. Right?
Well,
right?
you probably got more of a leg to stand on than he might for being a quote unquote journalist.
Exactly. Or I could even put like fucking product tester for or product advisor for Apple, and it'll be like.
I write a review when they send me how did this work.
Yeah. Or I just make a lot of appointments to complain about my phone. So.
Oh fuck yeah! I work at the Genius Bar because I'm there all the time because my phone's broken.
Not even that. I mean, we know a colleague of ours who does work in the Genius Bar.
Mm-hmm. And you know that is good because I message him to always say, "Hey, there's a problem with my shit."
Oh my god! He must hate the fact that half my messages now, they used to be about wrestling, but now they're about things that have gone wrong with my stuff.
Oh shit!
And the thing is, I'm in so deep with Austin's got a laptop, and I've got a laptop, and he's got an iPad, and I've got an iPad, and he's got a phone, and I've got the phone. So we've doubled up on devices, and then I'm also this week we had the problem of me trying to get old stuff from my iCloud off an old device onto one iCloud, and then also he backed up from a device previously, and then I really just had the urge to watch my old porn with my ex, which only he has, and I was just trying to emphasize the importance of please don't lose that, because I know how he can be with he stores things in different places, and also he changed jobs from where he stored it at the time he did it. We're talking a while ago, and
yeah, you got to get that thing back so you can learn how to record a show. That's very interesting that the audience probably doesn't know. For the amount of years that you've been podcasting, you don't record shows.
No,
and don't really know how.
I record my shows for the Sports Gambling Podcast and for Patreon, but
through the phone, as in press record and talk to the phone, right?
Well, it's one man show, first of all. That's correct. And second of all, they don't want me to upload it because they need to put all of their adverts in. So they tidy up everything. So even if I do it with another person and I have to do it from two phones, which is having one person on the other phone and have the other phone next to it, which hurts the audio, they will audio sweeten it anyway to rectify that. So everything's done because they have to put their adverts in. So that they take care of that. Patreon is Patreon. It's one man shows, and the stuff can be uploaded immediately, and it sounds fine recording straight into your phone. So this is the part that I cannot do. I say cannot do, but over the years there have been times where you're you need to log in, you need to upload the show, and it has gone up.
And that's the thing. It's I mean, right off the bat, you go, fuck, my head's going to explode by trying to figure out what to do. And after you do it about 3 times, you'll know what the fuck you're doing.
Well, the problem is that I'm only logged into one. So, a few weeks ago, we just did one of our shows. Only went up on one feed. The man show only went up on Dirty Sheets. I can't remember what it was. It was a one man show while you're on holiday. I think it was a holiday. I don't think it was one of the ones where
that was when I was in Cabo, I think, because you're you can't record at all? I'm fuck, no, I can't fucking record.
His family keep dying, so I mean that's
that too.
Sometimes I lose track if he's on holiday or
that was holiday. I didn't go to my grandmother's funeral, by the way, so I've been here since.
She died on the day of the Super Bowl, didn't she?
She did. And like I said, she couldn't bear to watch the 49ers win. She died and they fucking end up losing. So
did she die during the game?
Yeah, during the game. It was a third quarter. Yeah. So
that's actually legit. I thought that was just a joke.
No. Yeah, that's why I was well, I mean, it's a joke that she cared about the game. She wasn't watching the game or anything. But I mean, shit, she was in the hospital for a fucking while. Every day it was, she dead yet? She dead yet? Everyone was waiting for it. So, I mean, that's the fucking thing. So what is going on today? We will tell you. Let me take everybody down that memory lane and how I got to Billy in the first place. So there is a show called Steel Cage, and it used to be wrestling review show. Wrestling review shows, I feel, aren't as big nowadays as they used to be. And I think it's mostly because of the product. It's not as exciting to, I can't wait to talk about something. That's how I started my quote-unquote career in in this podcasting. Zero career, by the way. Nobody's giving me shit for this other than my fucking Lingus Mafia. We would do a YouTube show, and it was because me and my partner, Fausty, we would talk on the phone after wrestling. And I go, you know what? We should fucking record this and do YouTube. It's interesting. We would make jokes all the time, and it was entertaining for us. We go, all right, let's do that. So it started as a YouTube show. Long story short, we went and made podcasting because we sold the YouTube show to somebody who made us change everything in the fucking world, and it sucked. So we were like, we need to get our creative juices out and do what the fuck we want. So we'll just do a fucking podcast after the fucking YouTube show. And then realized how much easier it was to podcast than to videotape because of the editing. So we did that. And I would listen to a show called Steel Cage. I don't know how I came across it. Just, typing in wrestling review, and they were there, so I listened to it. And it was a bunch of nerds, and one person that I enjoyed to hear on the show, Billy, who was on every once in a while. He wasn't there every time. When he was on, and I've told Billy this, and I don't say it to suck his dick, because I give him plenty of shit for sucking his own dick, don't I, Billy? I give you plenty. Yeah. So I would tell him when he was on, I would be like, oh, it's a good show. It brought a lot more to the table. His humor was in my way with being foul and non-PC, of course. And he would have information because he would know people on the inside, not necessarily just the wrestler that he knows. A lot of people in the industry, so he could get info through them. And so it was interesting when he was on, and also when he would fall asleep on the show, which he carried that on to many of our shows. And he's in England, of course, and the time difference is quite fucking drastic. I'm in Cali, and it's 8 hours different. So what time is it right now, Billy? It's like fucking 11?
11, yeah.
There you go. And it's 3 o'clock for me. So it's a miracle we're ever, even doing this show as many times as we have. If he got a real job, he'd be in big fucking trouble, and this would never happen. So he was be on the show time to time, and I contacted a troll from that show whose name is Derek Montilla. And he always had a bit where he talked about Lana. He jerk off to Lana, and it got to be, it's almost overboard. And almost, it already is. It's overboard, where he's in love with this Lana. And it got to a point where she got engaged and he got fucking drunk because he was so fucking heartbroken by it, which is, then you're getting into stalker territory. So we asked him, and him being a whore for the air, because he wanted to be on every show that was on their little channel. We asked him to be on our show because we were going to rate, and I think he misunderstood me when I said it, Billy, because I said we're going to rate all the WWE women. I think he really thought I said rape, so he agreed to come on. So he comes on the show, and we go over all the different women. Who do you think has this and that? And you know what? I think I'm going to dig up that audio for our next man show. So tune in next week for even better pointers, because I have the interview still where he was on and going over the best of everybody, and what an absolute horrible man putting down women and looking at them objectively, Billy. This man, heavens to Murgatroyd, what he would say, and how he would have butt-fucked these women and everything. So he did this interview with us, and we talked to him and said, this Billy character is really good, and he mentioned who you were and how you were known and from a Big Brother and everything like this. And so he was the one. We should call him Dr. Frankenstein, because he put this monster together, if you think about it. All right, I wanted to have you on my show. He gave the hookup of how to get a hold of you. We had a show together. I interviewed you. We hit it off, and we ended up doing a show together for a while now. it turned into where I became enemies with Derek is I would text with the guy. Everything was normal. Very fucking normal with him. And he all of a sudden started talking about me. And he said something to Billy about, like, Billy thanked him for hooking him up with me. And he said, oh, yeah, you two are, the same. You're fucking both, gross or this and that, because he's so far above us, right? And it was like, yeah, we're the same humor and all that kind of stuff. And so,
well, you missed out a bit where he gave me he said, this guy's trying to contact you. Don't do his show. It's a waste of time. Because he only wanted to be the only one on there, but he had to ask in case you check with me.
That is very odd too. That he's like, he says how horrible, but meanwhile he would text me what a great time it was. So already we know he's a town liar. Let's start that seed right now because of the further part that we're going to talk about in this show. That's the major thing. So he tells Billy, it's a terrible show. It's a waste of time. Don't bother. And then another seed is when I'm into shit with him because he says on his show that I'm a sociopath. And I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? All we did was ever be nice to him on the show. Had a good interview. Everything's normal. And then he starts talking shit about me. So we turned it into a bit, as only I can on the show. And I said, how dare he call me a sociopath? Look up the dictionary for sociopath. So we look it up in the dictionary. And nearly every fucking part of it matched me, except for like being violent or something to people. And it was like, it went into the realm of like how you would score with women, because it was like, you manipulate for what you want. It was all this kind of, and I go, all right, well, what's the next thing say? And it was a joke, and it kept on going, and it was like, and then at the end of it, I apologized to him because he was correct. And so I texted him and said, thanks for the bit, with a smile. And he wrote back, fuck you. And I had sent that to you in our little group, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Where'd this come from? And Billy liked to stir the pot, and I know what's going on. And he goes, well, I don't see any fucking LOL or smiley face after that fuck you. Fuck this. So I reply back. I think I didn't. I don't even know if I replied back or just said thank you or something. I still actually have it in my phone, to tell you the truth. I could fucking go back right now and try to find what exactly was said here. So that's where this happened. Oh, here it is. Okay. Oh, he fucking texted me. I'm sorry. Here we go. He texted me first and just wrote, you sociopath. So he must have listened to the show where we did the bit.
I don't listen to anything where he may be mentioned.
Where what?
Where he may be mentioned.
Sure, that's true. So
that's the only reason he's even come back to podcasting this week.
So he writes, he writes, you sociopath. I reply, LOL, you made for a great bit. Thanks for the help. He replies back, fuck off. I then reply back with a kissy face. And that was the last time we talked, January 9th, 2017. That was that. So that's where that ends with him, as in the last time we spoke. But then I get my soldiers in the fucking mafia after him. And it's tweeting him constantly and calling him a horse-toothed jackass. And that he could eat apples through a fence. And just blasting and blasting and blasting. Having signs for him on Raw. Like Derek Montilla is a horse-toothed jackass. All this kind of stuff. So back in the day when Billy was still podcasting with them, you set up the arrangement because you were friends with Drew McIntyre, is that correct?
What arrangement is this?
This is the arrangement at to be at a table for Mania or something?
Yeah, I set that up for them. I asked him if he would sign for the steel cage table.
And this is when he was in the Indies?
Yeah, this was at this was actually
WrestleCon?
this is actually way before you were even around. Like, so this was at WrestleCon 2015 in San Jose, though.
Oh, okay, that's funny. See, he was saying, wasn't he? Today, I believe on his show, he was saying it was in Arizona. I thought.
No, it was in. I sorted it out for them in San Jose.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. So this is, he sits at the table and does the signing and this and that, and so they're jerking off to rub shoulders and elbows with a celebrity. This is what a bunch of nerds. They're into this. So years go by. Billy gets into wars with them still, or with Derek more than anything else. What also happened before this, before Total Contact is broken off, is they were allowing Billy to post a show on their stream. This is where all hell breaks loose.
Let me just change the narrative.
Go ahead.
I didn't leave them entirely. I was ready to go. So let me just reiterate what was going on. I had by far, which is true, the number one show on there. And so basically there was the regular Steel Cage show. Mm-hmm. And then eventually there was the Dirty Sheets, which was my show, because I was getting so many. They had this thing where it was like the letter of the week. And at the time I didn't realize egos were being hurt by it. But where it was like ask your questions and all that. And I was getting so many questions about insider news and all this kind of shit.
Yeah.
So I eventually decided to branch off and do my own show, but with Derek, because I pitched it and Josh had told me, "Oh, Derek's pitched something similar." I was like, "Well, of course he has." So like, why did you guys just do it together? But it was my show, mostly by me, and he was the co-host of it, and Dirty Sheets was my name for it and everything. So eventually, we're into this by, I believe it was episode 14 or 15. So I remember
he couldn't even do an insider show because he didn't have any fucking insiders.
No, but he just wanted another show.
Yeah.
He believed that at the time that SmackDown. No, SmackDown came afterwards. He believed that at the time that we needed another show of the week to get interviews and all these kind of things. And so I started out and I got the interviews. So it was like me and Drew and me and Vince Russo and Colt Cabana. And, I started out with running through my contacts, not every week because that's not the format, but it was enough. Mm-hmm. So we get into a few weeks and we hear that like he still wants to do his own show. And he wants to leave the Dirty Sheets to me only. So I have to like bring in somebody else, and I end up bringing in Nick. Mm-hmm. So it's in me and Nick. So we got three. The podcast has gone from one show to me having my own show because I was by far the most popular person who had grown their numbers from 600 to 800 a week to 5,000 a week, which I don't get any credit for because obviously it was a coincidence. I mean,
they just happened to grow and you were there.
Yeah, I mean, that growth was obviously guaranteed because, I mean, they bring so much to the table with everything that they've done in their lives. And so we now have 3 shows going on because Egomaniac, after 15 weeks, decides he can't do the show with me. Not that he expressed anything to me, to my face or I mean, directly.
Yeah, to your
ear. He went behind my back, and I find out that we're now doing 2 separate shows because he's pitched for a totally different show because my show wasn't following the format that he wanted, which was interviews every week with nobodies, proven by the fact that he managed to one week get Jim Ross, and then he was short of a guest 7 weeks in and put me on, and and the fact that me and him hadn't spoken for I hadn't been on the podcast together for about 6 weeks because he left Dirty Sheets to do his own thing, and I was now doing it with Nick. And then when me and him got back together, it did more numbers than he's ever done in his entire life. So for some reason, people did like me and him together, probably because we're just completely opposite people. One's a complete loser. So if I'm the opposite of a total loser, that's a good thing. And so I do like big numbers on that as his guest, and so all along, this moron wants his own show. We get it together. Then he's so childish. He doesn't want to be with me. And then 7 weeks into his show, he runs out of guests and gets me on, and it's the biggest show that he does. So the biggest show he did was a show that he was already doing before, which was just me and him, which he didn't want to do. That this basically summarizes him better than anything, which is why I wanted to mention it. So eventually, like, I say to the guy, there's friction starting to formulate because he's saying that me and Nick are not talking about SmackDown enough, and he wants a fourth show. He doesn't want to be married anymore at this point. No, he wants a fourth show. So he's got Minutes with the Mayor. We got the Steel Cage review right every week, and we got Dirty Sheets. He wants to add a fourth. He wants to add a fourth show to the feed, and says to them, "I want Billy to be told he's not even allowed to talk about SmackDown because he doesn't talk about it for long enough."
That's madness. Because SmackDown was the better show. Remember that? That was the big thing. That was you were going to do SmackDown because you guys just picked and said you'd do SmackDown, and then he realized, fuck, Raw's not as good as SmackDown. Now I want SmackDown. He's like Veruca Salt.
Yeah, so he now wants. So bearing in mind, he's the last person to join, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the second last person, and then it's him at this time. So like he's come in, he's the last person to join, but he wants his own podcast, and then he wants another podcast. Bearing in mind, there's no reason for it because there's no demand for his shows. He's not a popular person on the show. He's not interesting. He's not getting any Q&A questions. He's not a standout character at all. But for some reason, the guy that owns a Steel Cage has taken some shine to him because he can get some free indie tickets because he has some kind of link through the Arizona Cardinals, or he gets free Arizona Cardinals tickets. Not the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks. Sorry, the teams. He probably gets nothing from the Cardinals. So basically, the guy becomes like enamored with him and thinks that he's some media personality that they have to cater to because they, around Arizona. So he's just giving into him every time, even though he has no numbers, no statistics to back up anything that he's got. So I eventually I'm eventually putting for them for more shows because we're starting a new year. And I said to him, look, on top of Dirty Sheets, I'm doing this other show called Legends. Legends Recap. Do you remember how good that was?
Yeah, that was a great show.
For 3 weeks, we did it for like 3 weeks. We covered a legend, and then we're going to do more and more and more. They said to me, we can't give you any extra shows because we are going to give Derek SmackDown, and we are going to give and there's other people coming on to do shows about movies and independence. And he said we're now he said that we're now starting 4 new shows in the new year. So not only can we not give you a new show, but you have to keep your show to 1 hour or 1.5 hours maximum. But you can only do 2 1.5 hour shows. Basically, they told me that I only had 7 hours of bandwidth a month for my shows, right? So I was like, fuck this. So me and Nick then bought our own feed and told them that we would submit the shows to them, and they could either edit down or whatever, but the shows were going to be the shows. And if they could get them on, they'll get them on or whatever. But we didn't want to make a clean break from them because they would have died without us at the time because we were so far clear. Dirty Sheets was so far clear at this point. I mean, we did a show on their feed that was at 7,000 and something, which had you on it. They then told me that if I wanted to continue to put my shows on their feed, that you couldn't be on them anymore because you had insulted them on one of their own
I was
shows.
Talking shit and had it fucking posted on their own feed. I fucking was ripping them to death and making them listen to it in their own house.
Yeah, at which point, like, I think Derek had, because the guy knew that I had realized that I was more of an asset. He'd let it slide for a while because there'd been mentions of it about it. And then eventually it was like the ultimatum came through. And I believe it even came to a head with you receiving like a threat from him.
We were on a group text at that point. And I was saying, and I'm very much, as insane as I might come off at times, I'm very reasonable. And you could talk to me and reason with me, and I could go back and forth with somebody without just killing somebody. And And it all came down to that whole Derek shit where I was like, hey, if he apologizes to me, it's forgotten. It's done with then. But I'm not in the fucking wrong here for attacking him when he came out of the fucking blue calling me a fucking sociopath for fucking zero reason. I didn't attack him for nothing. It was like, why did this happen? And that old Joshua fucking slob, he fucking starts in with, well, I don't know about that. And I'm like, it drives me crazy when you try to argue with someone and they ignore the facts. You're like, the sky's blue, and they're like, no. You're like, fucking look. It's 100% true, and you just won't even fucking listen. So I remember the exact words he said was about, I need to stop talking shit about people on his feed and that I was on thin ice. And I fucking lost my fucking mind at that point. And I started fucking going off. Thin ice? Who the fuck are you? Thin ice? I don't fucking work for you. I'll fucking say now triple the fucking shit I said. Thin ice. Now I want you to fucking do something, you skinny bitch. I'd punch you so fucking hard in your stomach I'd break your fucking back for you. So this little bitch wanted to fucking open his mouth, so I want to fix his fucking jaw for him. So that's where that whole thing started. And then it was like, I'm sorry, Billy, you can't, can't do this simulcast anymore because you have a fucking maniac that's not going to be controlled by their fucking geek ass. What is he? Is he quarter fucking chink or half?
I don't know.
You fucking Rice Krispie. So that's where that happens, and all hell goes off the fucking railings, right? So let's go to present day.
Well, just to tidy that
Sure.
up. So we do go off on our own, and then they do end up doing their own thing, and we're having a lot of success at this point, which is through me sharing my content with Sportskeeda and other companies, and I'm getting offers for jobs and all that kind of stuff. And then we have the big Twitter blow up on the day where I insulted women's wrestling, and these assholes see this as the opportunity to join in, and they're going, this guy's horrendous and don't be like him and all this kind of shit, where it's they're really sticking a knife in us because they're coming in, because I'm having rows with people anyway, and they're going, yeah, this guy was an arsehole, we kicked him off our show.
Yeah.
And all this kind of shit.
They rewrite history.
And joining in and all that stuff, which eventually led to my Twitter being suspended and everything. So I mean, that was the verified account. So that was seen by them as handing me an L, because we learned later he kept saying things like, "Oh, I've handed him another L." It's my Twitter account he took credit for it for some reason.
Because he's a tattletale for one. That's for sure.
And so then we ended up texting him, tweeting him in a picture when we had free tickets to NXT, which we got from Drew McIntyre, and they were hard cam, right out like they always are.
Sure.
And then Cab texted him and going, "Well,
I tweeted
me and Billy taking more L's or whatever."
Yeah, I said, yeah, me and Billy are taking more L's as we get tickets for NXT from Drew, and that was my tweet.
At which point he ended up going to Drew McIntyre and crying about the fact that Drew was allowing this guy to have tickets, because obviously at this point, if it was ever more obvious that this guy hadn't, because if he was in the receiving end of tickets, you just shut your mouth at this point and say, okay, he gets tickets, he can do what he wants to. It's obviously Billy's ticket. Billy knows him. Billy introduced him to us. We don't know this guy for shit. We would have no communication with him at all if it wasn't for Billy's. Obviously Billy's friend. Billy obviously knows him from England, which I do. So this relationship makes sense. And Billy, and whatever Cab says, I'm not going to rise to it, because it's obvious how Cab's got there, right?
Yeah, of course.
No, this dickhead is so butthurt by the fact that he thinks that he's friends with this guy just because I got him to do WrestleCon for them a couple of times. He did it in 2015 and 16 when I won. So 1 year I wasn't there, but he still agreed to do it for me. So he's butthurt that my friend has given me 2 tickets and I've given 1 to Cab, and he feels more like he has more of a right to be there than Cav. That he starts tweeting Drew about Cav, going, "Do you know who this guy is? Do you know who Billy's giving his tickets to? This guy's a fucking scumbag and all this shit." And then to which point Drew texts me going, "Oh, what's the story with this guy?" Like, I was like, "There's nothing wrong." I was like, "What's nothing wrong with this guy?" He goes, "Like, why is he putting out this tweet?" And I was like, "Well, because Derek Montilla is a dickhead or whatever." But I think once I called him down, I realized that what had happened is that he wasn't pissed off so much about the tweet, but he was pissed off about the insinuation that he'd given his ticket to somebody who
he doesn't know the situation, and like he even said to you, didn't he say, "I don't want to be in a fucking middle of a war"?
Yeah. So basically, what he was pissed off about was that he may have given his ticket to a massively controversial figure. Everything basically Derek had said about you. So it wasn't a case of the tweet or anything like that. It was because the tweet may have come from somebody who was seen to be a blacklisted person.
Sure.
Although the irony is, I'm the blacklisted person.
That is the funny part about it. You're the bad one.
Who's argued with half of the people that he's friends with.
Exactly.
I mean, he's actually.
I'm nobody.
He knows now. Like, I mean, he's aware of the fact that, I mean, he's friends with Alistair Black, and he knows that I hate Alistair Black and that I've had arguments with Alistair Black on Twitter. But the thing is that I'm a legit blacklisted person, and me and him are friends. You are not blacklisted for anything. No. But the thing is that so Derek wasn't stupid enough to go down the route of, why do you still talk to Billy? Because that would have been too borderline. Fuck off. I'll be friends with people. I've been friends with people for it was like 6 years at this point. So, and now it's like 8, but at the time it was 6. So he would have said to him, "Who the fuck are you?" Texting me about who I can and cannot speak to. But he was cleverer about it, and obviously more hurt about you than me, because you're you. And I was always more significant than him anyway. But for you to have anything,
because that was his spot, he would have been in if he was still friends with you. That he would have been me.
He still wouldn't have been you, because from the minute. Because the thing is that no matter how many podcasts or whatever I did with him, it's always a forced chemistry with people.
It was a business relationship, not a friend relationship.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't, if it wasn't for wrestling, I wouldn't be friends with any of those people. And the thing is that even like initially, like, I never thought that about Nick for 1 second. Nick's actually sort of more square than he was now. He's more square now than when I first met him. And I don't mean that in terms of anything to do with like wrestling or whatever, but he obviously he's just become more of a husband now and things of that nature. But when I first met Nick, and back in 2015 in San Jose, he was basically just coming in to listen to the Steel Cage record and offer people weed. So that was the first conversation with him. Like, Nick was just some guy who listened to our show that had loads of drugs.
So Nick flew to San Jose for Mania?
Yeah, that's how I met him.
How terrible that we were that late. It would have been perfect. I'm like, fuck, everyone was here. And
so Nick,
I didn't know you guys.
Nick was just this cool drugs guy that listened to our show. So it was like...
Funny. Meanwhile, I was giving away hot dogs in the fucking parking lot to promote my show. Free hot dogs.
So getting back to my story, get us on track. He went for you and made you out to be someone who he shouldn't be giving tickets to. Someone who was blacklisted by the whole industry, who does horrible content, racist, homophobic, whatever. I can't speculate on what it was, but I know now that what he was pissed off about was the nature of your content, of what Derek had made it out to be. So that was what it was, but that's all been resolved now. But yeah, so that takes us to where we're at, because it went quiet for a bit, and we then came to realize that was because they had stopped doing shows, because obviously their numbers had finally reached that point where it was no longer worth doing.
That's the thing. And I said, for shits and giggles, I went to their feed. And I said, oh, I want to see. And the reason I did that is because Drew won the Royal Rumble. And I said, I guarantee they are hooting and hollering on the show that it's their friend who won. So I go to the feed, which I have not gone to in fucking.
I guess so.
ages.
Just one thing that you missed. Just one thing you missed out there
Mhm.
was the fact that they hadn't done a show for months.
Well, that's the.
And-
here's the thing.
and-
No, you're not.
And
I haven't
we
missed that because
actually-
we're
and
getting
we
there.
Had mentioned, and we had mentioned that they hadn't. We did a show 2 weeks ago saying that they hadn't done a show.
Well, here's
and
where
they
you.
hadn't done a show on the Rumble.
Well,
the
this
week
is where
after
you're
the
jumping.
Rumble.
You're jumping ahead because I'm talking about before we talked about that.
Oh, okay.
So it was. I went there to hear what they were to say about the Rumble, and when I got to their page, which I hadn't been to in fucking years, it was all movie reviews, and it was like you would scroll forever and not see a wrestling review from the main fucking people. So we were like, what the fuck is going on? What happened? Did they stop fucking doing it? So
Main people just makes me laugh.
the
as well.
main
Like,
fucking nerds that we all know and hate. So I message Grieg, who used to be part of this podcast of ours, and he always did the Unfunny Nerd Tangent podcasts about movie reviews, which he put together well, and we were like, well, he should do that on our feed, but he's very Switzerland. He didn't want to get involved in a fight on either side, and so he pretty much he was with Steel Cage doing it. So I'm on good terms with him. There's never any problem. So I message him and say, how are things? I haven't talked to him in years either. And I said, so what's going on with that? Do you own it now? And he goes, no, they just stopped doing wrestling because it's been pretty boring. That's about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so just chit-chatted. And that was that. And so we come on the show the other week, last week even, and we said, wow, they're done with it. We should fucking buy the feed or, do something and see what's going on. And we
correct.
talk shit laughing about how they don't do the fucking show anymore, that they're fucking dead. All of a sudden, this week, they do a fucking Royal Rumble review. A Royal Rumble review way after it's fucking done, by the way, mind you. It's been weeks. And so I'm going to listen to this show because I need to hear what's said, because I was guaranteeing that they start saying my friend, our friend of the show. But see, this is the worst I thought they would say. The very worst I thought they would say is friend of the show, Drew McIntyre won the Rumble, because they spoke to the man one time in their fucking lives. So I'm like, okay. And so I'm listening to this, and I'm messaging Billy, and I go, you're going to fucking tear your fucking hair out.
Actually, there was like a so let me just add one story.
Sure.
So we're out, and actually we're out in I just land, and these guys are like at an indie show in San Jose. So I'd already agreed for them to like do the WrestleCon thing the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at the back of the van, and I'm at the back of the building, and they're all there talking to Drew. And I was like, so I text Drew, like saying, where are you? He goes, I'll come to the back of the building. And they're all there talking to him already, right? So they're all there going, oh yeah, well, are you going to come out? Are you going to come out? He's like, yeah, I'll see how I feel or whatever. So he calls me to one side. He goes, are you going to come out? I was like, no, I'm going to sleep. He's like, and then he goes, oh, and then he turns around and he goes, I'll leave it then, so I'm not going out with these guys. So he then that was his decision made, because I was the buffer between him deciding if he was going to go out or not going to go out with these guys.
Sure, you're not going to go with these strangers that he didn't. I mean, he would have had to hit it off and be like, wow, we're like soulmates, all of a sudden to be going out with strangers.
Exactly. So once I said no, because I just landed there, and I had to get them all into the show, because the tickets were my guests. It was Billy plus 4 or whatever. So Jesus. I had to get to the show as soon as I landed, because he's not giving them to them, because at the time he doesn't know them at all. Mm-hmm. All he knows is that he's doing the steel cage for me, and for all he knows, like, I own steel cage because I'm the one that's got him on the booth the next day.
Yeah, you're the one that's talking.
And in the following year, I managed to get him without even being there, because at the second year he was TNA champion. So he's at the back of the building, and I'm talking to him, and he just pulls me to the side. He goes, "Are you going out?" I was like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm like, I just landed, and like I want to, and I got to get up tomorrow." And I just said to him straight, like, I got Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat at 10 a.m. back at WrestleCon, which I did have. So he said, "Oh," he goes, "I'll leave it, and I'm not going to go out of these guys." So yeah, that kind of brings us up to the point of how much of a friend of the show he was, because anything he did with that show involved me and me only.
So I say to Billy, I go, "Oh, you're going to go crazy right off the fucking bat." And he goes, "Oh, did he say our friend won?" I said, "No, they haven't got to the Rumble yet, but Derek introduces himself as sometimes known as the Chosen One." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck, here we go. This is what this is going to be today." So they talk about, or this is Derek, and I'll play you the clip. This is Derek talking about what happens watching the Rumble when Drew is winning. And I'll play this for everybody to hear, and Billy can comment after. Here we go.
Oh my God, that's just so pathetic.
The edge portion of the story.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Fucking A, man. God, I got goosebumps just you talking about that, right? Yeah, so you're right, because we had the Beast Incarnate in Act 1 dominating the world. And then here comes the great hero, the Destroyer, the Chosen One, folks. The Chosen One.
Truly.
Our
coming through.
Our motherfucking friend, Drew McIntyre, comes through and eliminates Brock Lesnar in easily, for me, what was one of the top 5 moments of watching wrestling with my friends at a pay-per-view. I say that because the Matt Mania guys were over at my house. Brian, Guitar Salad, follow him at Guitar Salad. He was over here, and we were having a good time. We were enjoying ourselves. We were, playing the Rumble pool. And the minute that Drew eliminated Brock Lesnar, the eruption of joy in my living room was something that I wish I had videotape of. We were jumping up and down. We popped open a bottle of champagne and fucking drank it. Not at the end of the Rumble. When that happened, we fucking opened a bottle of champagne and we drank champagne in honor of Drew McIntyre eliminating Brock Lesnar, not even fucking winning the goddamn thing. So, yeah, there was just, so many.
So that's the first comment. Now, he's taking joy like it's his best friend who won this.
Yeah, there's just so many loopholes in that where he's. So I can't even understand how you're sitting. It renders me completely speechless. How he's sitting there going, okay. So first of all, when you're really friends with somebody, right? In a way, you don't even use the phrase "our motherfucking friend" comes out in terms of, as in it heightened your enjoyment, as in you don't ever go on and say, "I can't believe my friend" and "our motherfucking friend," and it's yeah, but it's
snip that jock, suck that dick.
It's what are you celebrating here? The fact that he's your friend, or the fact that
I know someone that's famous.
Yeah, it just comes across as the whole thing isn't about. See, when we covered it, we covered it as in Drew won, and there was a little mentions. I went obviously, and I mentioned a few times. It was heightened. Yeah, it was heightened by the fact that he was my friend. So I said it's been distracting me from various other things and whatnot. But the thing is that
you've been involved. I never went on and said you've been highly involved.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, exactly. That's
you had vested interest, pretty much. I mean, it was we can't say a lot of stuff here, but you were very involved. So it was an accomplishment for you as well, being involved. Obviously, it's his career, but
I never used the phrase. It's so unbelievable. It's my fucking friend. It's it wasn't me going. It was good, but because it was my motherfucking friend, it was but it wasn't like that at all. It was for me, it was more of a case of for the whole time, it was a sense of, the real feeling was a sense of relief, because I've been dealing with the frustration a lot of the time throughout the last few years, when it's it looks like it's going to be good, and then it's then we can't get, then the next thing comes down and it looks like it can't be good, and then it looks like it's going to be fine, and then all of a sudden it's coming down the card again. So it's been very up and down the whole time. So especially, and the thing is that the whole thing is so cliche when wrestling, because for you guys that don't watch it, sometimes they have these guys that come on there and they say they've got all the tools and they say it about a lot of people. And sometimes these guys don't make it to where they should be. Like there's a guy on there called Bobby Lashley at the moment. So if you guys don't all watch wrestling, this guy literally has all the tools. He's like an ex-MMA guy. He's black, so he fits in with the whole like minority thing because they like to go with the whole let's try and make a black star if we can, if he has all the tools. And this guy has everything, but he's not going to make it. Like he's not going to be a world champion to this point. And Drew's in that situation where he can wrestle, talk, he looks good. He has everything that that Roman has, except he's probably a better wrestler because he has that independent, that credibility from being on the independents and everything that he has, right? Mm-hmm. So it's been frustrating at times to not get it. So once that elimination happens, the whole relief comes to you first. When he wins, it's a happier moment. But the first moment's relief where it's just like, oh, yes, they're going to do something with him that's good. And it's not my motherfucker. It's not about me. Like, it's not like their whole thing is like, oh, the steel cage won the Royal Rumble. No.
The interesting part with him too is that it's like he mentions earlier about how.
Also, I'll tell you another thing he does. He mentions his friends. Okay, so I forgot this bit. He met these people 5 years ago when he came onto this show. That he met them at an independent wrestling show, and now these are the people that he invites to his house. Who did he go to school with, or university with, or who does he work with? Like, where are his actual friends? Like, why are his friends that are in his house, or wherever he was, popping champagne, apparently, which is probably not even true part of the story, because I never saw these guys drinking champagne when we were out. So why is he watching it? Why is he only watching it with these people?
Well, it's because they're considered semi-famous, and so that's the only people he's going to talk to.
Who's semi-famous?
I guess the people that do podcasting. He qualifies them as fucking famous.
The fact is that he's sitting around watching a Royal Rumble with a bunch of people that he doesn't that he's only known for like 5 years, and then celebrating something. I mean, that's the thing. That says it all. Like the fact that he labels his friends as people that he barely knows and sees, and he's saying it right there. Because the thing is, when he's talking about Brian Guitar Salad, who did about 4 shows a year, and now he's sitting around his house, celebrating and pouring champagne over each other and masturbating or whatever. Bear in mind, that's not even too far-fetched, because these are the same people who would book holidays to WrestleMania. And I mean, we can talk more about this in a minute when he makes his claim about Drew and later on in the show. These are the same people, right, who share a room with 5 people. And we're talking fat, stinky people. Like, we're talking sweaty, dirty, receding hairline wrestling fans. And 5 of them sharing one room. And they all share beds as well. Like,
save a dime. Like, fuck.
I mean, it smelled when I used to go and podcast in there. So can you imagine, like, after 3 days, what it's like? They would just share beds with each other. And this is the thing. At least the 4 of them originally were friends, and like they have a bond or whatever. I mean, the thing is that I talk to you every week. Like, me and you booking a hotel room together and sharing a bed ain't happening.
Yeah.
Like, or even with Nick. Like, and I stay at Nick's house like 3 or 4 times a year. But if we're booking a hotel room, like, we are making sure that there's a spare bed in there at least. I mean, Nick stayed in my hotel room before, but me and Austin slept in the bed, and he slept on one of those sofa beds. And the thing is, you get good value in hotel rooms because they always have that sofa bed in there, no matter what.
Yeah.
But for these guys to push it to the point where they bring their own beds into the room, which is what they do. They bring a mattress, and they use a sofa bed, and then someone always shares the bed. So it's like they're like 2 of them are sharing a mattress that they bought and squeezing themselves into one room. it's so disgusting. I can't even begin to explain how disgusting it is to me, and how I wouldn't even classify it as a holiday because I'd be so appalled by it. But anyway, so these are the celebrities that you're talking about.
So with his wrestling expertise, he starts in with, like, they were clueless, like, that Drew was going to win this, where, like, you had mentioned it right away when we were, like, gambling, and he goes, oh, I thought for a minute that Brock was going to win this whole thing, and then after he got kicked out, I thought Edge was going to win, and then at the end I see Roman still, and I'm like, oh, please, not Roman. I'm like, they didn't think fucking Drew. I'm like, what the fuck? And then at the end he goes, you know what? I'm going to say it. I think he's going to beat Brock at WrestleMania. I know it's a hard task, but I think he might do it. I'm like, oh my God, these geniuses. Fucking,
and that's the thing. The whole podcasting thing is like, I don't get what you're trying to be now, because they're in there going, because you can tell, like, he's really like fucking smelling his own shit now, because he's seen Ryan Satin get the job on WWE. And that's why you're now hearing him on the show say the beast incarnate and all that. And I'll tell you the reason behind that, in as I know how this sick fuck's mind works. He thinks that if Satin's there, that he cannot be far off from securing a job with the company. So now he's starting to use all of the lingo and all of that. Do you not see through that? Did you not pick up on that? He's like doing the fake, I don't know who's going to win because he wants to be on the fucking TV show like they do. Not necessarily the
bullshit.
fake. No, not necessarily that, because I really don't think he has a clue about wrestling, because I used to podcast with him. But the whole like selling, maybe this guy's going to win, that guy's going to win. Yeah, when he's going, I thought Brock was going to win the whole thing. Nobody thought that, no matter what. But then when he's going, using the phrase "the beast incarnate" and all that, they didn't used to do that. Like, that is new, and that is basically him being like, hey, WWE, like, if you're ever going to listen to this, because you probably don't, because the guy that used to give away your news has now moved somewhere else, so there's no point. But he's now being, hey, listen to how WWE I am. Listen to how ready I am for your show.
Yes.
Like, how I'm using. That's what he's doing there. Like, I don't know if you didn't pick up on it, I'm telling you 100%.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
So he also says how, they were, such friends with Drew, and, to see this guy win, he was at our table. He came straight from a show, unshowered. He came straight to the show, and he was eating pizza that we bought. I'm like, it make it sound like he can't fucking afford fucking pizza or something. It's like, we fed him even, and now he's going to be the champion. This is where...
These are such like pathetic memories. Like, the thing is, this is the thing. I'm not going to make this a show about... I'm not going to make this a dick contest, and especially not going to be at my age. Like I said on the voice note, at my age, I'm not going to be on here saying, "Oh, I'm better friends with him than you are." Like, that puts me down on that level. And the thing is, I'm not going to come on here either and talk about what we've done or what we've do or how I was or wasn't involved in this process. And
your main theory is that he's not even friends with him.
That's the main problem. Yeah,
yes.
The whole thing. I'm disgusted by the fact that there are even human beings out there that are claiming to be friends with people. This is no different. It's a very different thing, but but the principle is the same. Of when and I also don't like this, when people say they fucked somebody and they didn't. When people go on a night out and they go home with a girl and she cuts them off at fingering and they say that they fucked her, like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's very high school.
Yeah, I hate that too. It is high school. And this falls under the same category of, oh, this is my best friend won the Royal Rumble. Like, I have no claim to him being, to this person being my best friend at all. But I'm pretty damn sure that it was more significant to me than him. And I'm not going to go into conversations. I'm not going to go into nights out. I'm not going to go into common friends. But all of these things exist for me that don't exist for him. And what I can talk about, because it puts Drew in a good light, is the fact that he's winning the Royal Rumble, and the day before, my son gets the call, and I get a package from Drew, which is the new Drew figure that comes with Roman Reigns, which he asked me what ones, because he asked me a few days before what has he got and what hasn't he got, because I can just get this stuff for free. But the weird thing is, then this is another thing. He goes to me. I goes, have you seen this plaque? This Royal Rumble plaque that's out of you. He goes, no, I've never seen that. He goes, that's amazing. He goes, it's funny they don't send me anything like that because they send him the figures and shit, which is why he sent Austin. Why he sent Austin. This is the thing, right? So you got the guy who I'm not going on our podcast and hollering and hollering about. I'm hollering and whatnot about the win, but at no point you can go back and pick up the audio now. This isn't a retrospective. This isn't retrospective from me to go on here and change the narrative. I never went on there. I was like, my friend, right?
Yeah.
I never did it. But my son did get a phone call, and my son was posted those toys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that this man considers me important enough to walk down to the post office on the week he's winning the Royal Rumble and send something to my kid, right? That's what I'm going to say. So at this point, I don't need to then go on about all of these past memories and the relevance and all that. This is not about me at all. This even if I didn't know the guy, right? Even if they were making these claims about Brock Lesnar and they were saying, or they were making the claims like last year, for example, Kofi Kingston won the WWE title, yeah. So if they were going on there and they were going, Kofi Kingston, he's our friend or whatever, I'd be like going, no. And if I knew enough about it, I'd be saying no. And this is the same situation. And there's like 100 situations like this where I see people like lying about stuff. I used to see it all the time. I used to see girls pretending that they'd fucked Premier League football players that I know that just went home after the night out, and you would see them in the newspapers, and they'd be like, he cheated on me, went home from me from Mayfair Club, and it'd be one of my venues, and I'd phone up the newspapers on behalf of the footballer who was one of my clients and say, this girl didn't fuck him. Jesus. And that's the thing. You can even say like, oh, well, so you've always been like Mr. like stick your nose in, but it's like, no, it hasn't. This is just something that bothers me. This just falls under the category of it's just sad. And this is not even about sex. This is not somebody that they fucked. Do you know what I mean? This isn't like someone they're claiming that they had sex with. They just have no relationship at all. This is a man who, through the association of another man, came and signed some autographs for you. They're making the claims that anybody in the last fucking 6 years that booked this guy to do anything, right? Can you imagine how many autograph signings he's done, how many independent shows he's done, how many promoters know? So you're telling me every promoter in England who booked him and Scotland and all the way across America, I'm not talking TNA, I'm talking fucking Japan, I'm talking like PWG, I'm talking ICW in Scotland, I'm talking IPW in the UK. Everybody's his best mate. All of them celebrated like their mate won. Every single person that booked this guy over the 2 years. So I'd say about 500 bookings that he probably took across that time, and the steel cage dates were just 2 of them. They all made this claim. I tell you, I bet you any money, 498 of those people were not sad enough to do what these guys did.
I bet you some were saying, that's our buddy and stuff like that. I'm sure there's a couple jock sniffers in the group. That's for sure.
Okay, but again, maybe they did. And maybe at this point it doesn't sound so serious. So we'll move on, and then you get a real feel for how dumb it got.
Yeah, okay. Here is the other recording that's at the end of the show about... This is insane. Do you know who Jim Dodge is, Billy?
No.
You ever seen the movie Career Opportunities? Where the guy gets locked in a Target and he's the night cleanup boy?
No.
Okay. You're going to have to watch this movie because he is referred to in this movie as the town liar. Like, he lies about everything. And this is, Derek Montilla is going to become Jim Dodge soon. Because listen to this, and this is insane. And Billy, I think you're going to have to find out or say something about this. So here we go. Here's the crazy.
I'll tell you now before we even move any further, I'm not getting involved. Like,
you gotta fucking ask. You gotta say, well, let's let people listen to what we're talking about first before we say, here we go.
So he is not my winner of the week. Let's go ahead and move over into that category. Let's do winners of the week. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and go first and pick the one and only Drew McIntyre. I'm going to step in and take him before anybody else does because I love that man. He actually text messaged me from Raw after getting his ass kicked by Brock Lesnar. So, like, there's a different personal connection and love there between the two of us. He really wants me to come to Tampa, and I really want to go to Tampa. But I couldn't be happier for this guy.
I am beyond fucking shocked and floored by it. And I was like, I got to send this to Billy immediately. He texted him during Raw, after the Brock Lesnar bit. And he really wants him to come to fucking Tampa. His buddy fucking Derek. I'm like, you have to. I won't be friends with you anymore. You have to fucking message him and say, did you fucking text message Derek? Or I'm assuming Derek is text messaging him. Obviously. And then fucking, this is the guy who tried to get me fucking, he liked to rat me out and say, look, he's using your name when we got a ticket. So I think it's all fair to reply back. He's using your name. Look, he's trying to brag to everybody that you guys are friends. This is Mark Henry going, yeah, me and Andre the Giant are friends now. When he was 5. You've got to fucking call his ass out.
I'm reading my conversations with him on Monday night after.
Well, I don't think he would. You think he's gonna go? Oh, Derek just texted me.
No, but I'm seeing like in terms of.
Is he begging you to go to Tampa?
No.
He knows you're already going. He don't have to ask. Please, Derek, be part of my celebration.
He said he didn't have enough. He said I asked him too late to stay at his house because there's already enough people that beat me to it. But
how many people are staying at his house? How big of a house does he have?
Too many for his brother to get a place. So,
Jesus.
So yeah, but at least I know the guy enough to ask.
Oh my God!
Because I'm not a moron.
Well, he might ask to sleep in the same bed though. Derek.
Derek's like he's even okay with me coming to Tampa. He said I could share his bed.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so he replies to me on Tuesday, which is actually Monday, but it's Tuesday for me. And so I tell you why I didn't reply to him, because his first reply to me is, mate, just getting to my messages now. Bloody mental. Slept 1 hour of media. Stuff changed tonight 35 minutes before. Promo totally ad-libbed. I went, have you seen that video of the bar in Scotland yet? No, haven't had a chance. He didn't have a chance to watch a reaction video of him winning the Royal Rumble in Scotland, which is a viral video.
Yeah.
And this is at like 3 a.m. and he gets to me. But he texted Derek Montilla and started a whole conversation about coming to Tampa Bay and how he wanted him there. No, he didn't.
Oh my God.
Just the tone of, and I'm gonna send you the screenshot of this to show you how much of a liar he is. This is the real messages that this is how the real mindset that he was in on that night, which I've just sent to you now. Now you can see the tone in terms of it's just.
Yeah, he's over fucking well. You got 5,000 things going on at once. Just getting the message. Yeah, mental day. Slept 1 hour and did media. Stuff changed. Yeah, and then you talked. So, yeah, but.
So can you see where Derek would fit into the scheme of that sort of day? And the thing is, Derek's lie is
he replied to Derek, nobody else.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's completely flawed by the fact that he tried to go for, he texted me from Raw and all this because they were doing the show. It was like, why didn't you just wait and say, I spoke to him this week, and the thing is that the whole thing of like our friend. Why? I don't understand why it can't just be a guy that the whole thing changes if it's like, a guy that we really like because
And not said as a joke either, because it could be said as a joke. Like, I mean, we do constantly, you know, like the Mean Gene thing. Our dear, close, longtime personal friend, shit like that, where you've spoken one word to the guy and you're like, oh yeah, our best friend over there, and you say it with a fucking wink and a smile. This guy's fucking jerking off and saying, "Finish in my beard and let me comb it through."
Let me tell you another story, right? Let me tell you a true story. When I was working for WWE after Big Brother, and I was doing the house shows, so I was working for WWE. I'm literally touring with them for 4 nights. So I'm booked to do the spot with like Carlito and Tommy Dreamer for 4 nights. Same thing. So I'm on the fucking show with them, and I'm sitting there at the bar and I'm drinking, and Craig on our group chat can verify this story, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no bullshit from me. I've got a friend who's there in the group. So we're sitting there, I'm drinking. So me and Craig, at this point we're friends with Morrison and Melina and Jeff. Like they're the guys.
Oh God, do I got stories for you? I got to tell you off the air about her.
So we're usually just sitting with those guys, and he goes, oh, and me, I'm talking to Jeff. So this is like the first night I really sat with Jeff. I've normally just been sitting with John Morrison, who I don't also go on the show and say is my close personal friend, just because I sat with him.
Yeah, I was yelling at SmackDown going, hey, I know Billy. And he
can you see the difference in our personalities where I don't call somebody a friend because I knew them for 4 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is just how I am, and this was every day. I was around these guys. So I'm sitting there with Morrison and Melina as usual, and Jeff Hardy comes over, and then we're having he knows I'm there, and but before, I mean, just even before that, like me and Craig had a night out where Orlando Jordan had tried to fuck Craig, and that's a completely another story, because Goldust didn't know I was on the tour, and he when the VIP people wouldn't let us into the WWE section, Goldust flagged us over and went, let them through, they're Orlando's friends. And I was like, no, I'm working for you.
It's Orlando's toys.
Like, oh yeah, it has nothing to do with Orlando. Orlando just has decided he wants to fuck my mate who's come along with me for this 4 days.
Well, he's the chief of staff.
It got real weird. So this is day 3. So I'm sitting there with tell the story. So I'm sitting there. So Jeff Hardy's talking to me. And he goes, are you just doing this? So you sort of watch it, or you really watch it? I was like, no, I really watch it. They got me here because when I was on the show, I was talking about I'm missing wrestling more than my family because I've never missed 6 weeks before. Because when I was on the show, he was going, oh right. He goes, so you follow the news, you go to WrestleMania, you follow them. So we're talking about how much of a fan I am because he's trying to gauge me as to how I got in the situation. So I'm telling him I read. Eventually, it comes up that I read dirt sheets, and he goes, "Oh, so what's the latest rumor or whatever?" So Jeff says to me, "He goes, well, at the moment they're saying it's going to be Edge, and Edge is going to win the title. He's going to face Undertaker at WrestleMania." And he's like going, "That's the main event." He goes, "Yo, Adam comes over."
Oh,
so
shit.
Edge comes over. He goes, "This guy says that you're facing Undertaker at WrestleMania in the main event for the title." And Edge goes to me, he goes, "Yeah, that's going to happen." And he walks off. And he goes, he goes, if that happens, hit me up and I'll make sure you get your front row. I'll get your first row ticket. Well, I already had a free ticket anyway, so it was actually second row because Floyd Mayweather's people had already had the front row. So me and Craig went to that WrestleMania and sat in the second row. There was nothing to do.
Oh no shit! Which side are you on?
Camera side. You can see me on the second row.
So you see the back of your head.
No, I'm in there. WresleMania 24.
Yeah, but you're on camera side, so we're seeing the back of your head.
I'm opposite the camera.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. All right.
I'll try and get some stills. But so I'm on there the whole time. But the thing is, I'm walking around backstage then at WrestleMania 35, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see Edge walking past, and there's a part of me that wants to do it, but in the end I don't, because I feel that these guys meet so many people and have such a busy life that I'm not even going to go up to him and say, hey, 11 years ago, you came up to my face and went, yeah, that's going to happen. And it's a fucking great story.
I think that is appropriate. I think that's appropriate.
He would probably have got a kick out of it.
Yeah.
But me, being in this celebrity circle and knowing the amount of people that walked up to me and said that they knew me or knew something or watched me on TV, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think he wants to hear this story right now, backstage at WrestleMania 35 or whatever. He must have something better to do than me sharing this memory with him or whatever. So I leave it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, I mention this only because it was one of those times where I was really, really, really close. Like I said, I don't call Morrison my friend. I don't talk Drew. When I say someone's my friend, and
it's texting and talking.
Bear in mind, I don't say it about Del Rio and I don't say it about Heath Slater, who are two people that are in my phone that I had text on and off and sorted some things out with them and whatnot. Like I do say that James, I do say Drake Maverick is my friend. I do say Marty Skrull is my friend. I do say that Maverick, sorry, not Maverick, that's Drake Maverick, Magnus, you know, all these people that have done our shows, Vince Russo, is Bruce Pritchard, I would say isn't, because I don't think we spoke enough, but Russo, I think we spoke a lot. So, you know, for me, it has to come to a certain point where you're sharing personal information about that. When I think they talk to you the way that they won't say things publicly, I think then you become friends.
Sure.
So I only mention this because this was one of those times where I was like, I know I'm not friends with Edge, but I know that we had this thing at the bar. So I'm really, really thinking about going up to him and saying, hey, remember this, but I didn't. And that was the decision that I made. And the reason I made that decision was because I'm always wary of what is weird and what might come across as psychotic. And I'm really, really careful about it. And then I hear this on the show where it's like somebody pretending. And I tell you why it's so psychotic, because what he's decided is that I'm going to say that I'm friends with this person. I'm going to say that I have this relationship with them, and it's all fabricated from what he wants this relationship to be. So he knew that if Drew ever got into this position and it almost sounds predetermined like wrestling is, that if Drew ever became successful, that they were going to hold on to the ties of the WrestleCon and the podcasts and all the stuff I set up for them, and they were going to say that our friend is the champion, our friend has won, and all of this stuff he was going to say. And he's basically made up a relationship and a personality that Drew doesn't have. Like I'm not going to talk about things that on here at all that basically make it clear that Drew is a lot more like me and you than he is those nerds.
Yeah,
because that wouldn't be appropriate. But
sure. I know what
he would not have a drink with these guys. Like it's just, and to make up this, and it almost sounds like one of us won. It's like it's like I can't even explain to you. I mean, the thing is that even Drew is very even different to me in terms of I see him, what he eats and the amount of time he puts into the gym and that. You know what? If I'm getting fired from WWE, I'm getting fucking depressed and I'm getting whores and coke and I'm not bouncing. I'm not working hard enough to get back in the company. You know, I'm going the other way. That's me, right? So I'm not sitting and going, "Oh,
I give up." Yeah.
It's like, fuck this. I did it. I made it. I got fired. So now I'm gonna go.
Done.
Yeah,
you're gonna find a job at Home Depot.
I mean, that's the thing. Even my approach to obviously with the whole writing thing, whether I go there or not, because a lot of because at the moment, the opportunity may be there to go and work for them temporarily. And am I not saying to you guys, I only want to do it. I only want to do it for 2 months. I know I don't want to be. I know me, and I know that I wouldn't be able to work for anybody at any job where it involves me being somewhere at any time, every week, every day, for more than 2 months.
You're like me to a point with that kind of stuff, because I'm supposed to coach high school football this next year, and I keep thinking about it going, I know I'm going to regret doing this. I know I'm going to regret it because I'll be like, I just want to go home.
It's incredible that, I mean, this commitment to just doing these shows is hard enough. Like even the SGP, like every week they're like going on to me and going, when they give me the tiniest thing, it's like, can you reread the adverts? We've got a new sponsor. I complain. They send me, they change the format. They're like, now we need the description of the show and we need a bullet point description of the show for Twitter. I cry. Like, they basically pay me and then make the most basic changes that require 5 minutes more work, and I cry. Like, I know how difficult I am to deal with and how moany I am, and everybody else will verify for that, which is why I couldn't stay married and and things of that nature, and throughout my life, how I've talked myself out of jobs. So I'm not sitting here going, me and Drew McIntyre, we're the same. Like, no way at all. Like, the guy's far more driven and
Dedicated,
disciplined, and dedicated than me. But when it comes down to, like, you know, I would say banter. That's very British. I don't know if Americans have.
No, we know banter.
Oh, okay. When it comes to, like, banter and opinions and, you know, thoughts on certain things, are very much on the same, like, wavelength in that sense. And I just don't think these guys are like these guys aren't even on the same wavelength as me. Every minute with them outside of doing a podcast was awkward. Every second where it was social interaction, I was doing it, and I felt like, you have to do this because you've known him for so long. And it's like, I almost felt like, in a weird way, when I met you felt the same way. Not that you took a disliking to me or Nick or anybody, but I almost felt like, because of the environment, it was like you were like, you know what? I podcasted for these guys for so long, I have to be on Bourbon Street, even though I hate being here.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was like, well, I can't. I mean, it was the first time I get to meet you in person. I can't just be like, I'm not going. I mean, what the fuck?
And I think for you, it was more of a case of, I'd rather be doing something else as opposed to I'd rather not be with this person.
Oh, sure. I'd be like, let's go to dinner or something else. But yeah, go and walk in the streets of Bourbon Street and drinking. Yeah, that's not for me at all. Where I'm like, yeah, I'd much rather have done something else. But yeah, when in Rome,
the Steel Cage guys were not the guys to go out with to pull chicks. My friends. When I combined my friends with them and I said, I'm meeting these guys on this night out, my friends were like, when can we ditch them? Like, when can we? And it was, then that was true. Like, so I did, but I always did like my, because the thing is that I've had enough nights out in my life and I've had enough experiences where I'm not going to abandon them at a disrespectful time. The thing is that, and I will say, I'm not going to just come on here and and slag off everybody. Josh and his brother, the bodybuilder, they were absolutely fine. They were fine to go out with. They're fine to drink with. They're fine to sit with. They behaved appropriately in a strip club. They weren't there with their like jaws dropped and
they can't believe there's a tit. Yeah,
and like so. But the others, not for me at all. Like that guy Daryl and Brian and Adam's okay. The one that lives in Australia now. He's fine, and even Sprung to a certain extent, even though he's a bit of a bullshitter because we saw him. And here's another thing, right? So these guys are all super tight with him. Then why am I walking past Madison Square Garden for Raw, and you guys are out there, or one of you guys are out there waiting to buy a ticket from someone when the show starts, so you don't have to pay full price for it? Why don't you have a free ticket for a non-sellout show like we did? So where's your free ticket? Like, this is the part I don't understand. There's so many holes in this story. And the thing is that what I also am trying to make sense of, more so than anything, and just to put a sort of a line under this, is why people like this exist and why anybody does this. And this isn't about Drew McIntyre or anybody. This is about why guys pretend to sleep with girls. Why would a guy at this age pretend to be friends with another guy or lie about something like this? Like, I don't understand when you get to an age.
To look like a big guy.
But how does this make you look good? You didn't win anything.
They want people to be like, wow, he knows him. Wow, can I touch you?
But how is that cool now? Like, it's cool. You know who it's cool for? You know, the only person that I know who this is cool for?
Kids.
My kid.
There you go.
My kid who goes out and pulls out his camera phone and, and the thing is that nobody can tell if you know Drew or Seth or The Fiend or whatever. And the thing is that we had a great conversation with The Fiend, and we've got our photos actually in the gym, which you've seen with Bray Wyatt. Like, we were talking to him in the gym and took a photo. It's like, kids don't need to know how much you talk to him or if he called you on your birthday or whatever. Kids just are amazed that you even met these people. And as he'll get older, there will be like there'll be an age where he hits probably about 14, 15, where it becomes like, oh wow, you actually know him. And then it will just stop being cool. Because the thing is that the thing about celebrities
be normal
is they and all you guys need to do to hit on this point and to sort of make this more of a man show subject is go and watch the Kevin Hart documentary on Netflix and look at the people he hangs around with. fucking nobodies that he grew up with, and he takes them around with him and gives them jobs so that they're as rich as him, or at least so they have enough money to go shopping with him.
Yeah, keep up the lifestyle.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. Everybody has friends. Like, you don't become famous and ditch your friends. And the thing is that if you do, and I'm not saying that I ditched mine, it doesn't work. Through the fact that my friends had jobs from Monday to Thursday, Monday to Friday even. Fucking hell, I know nothing about work. Through Monday to Friday, I then did become friends with people that had rich parents and whatever, who basically were able to.
Do you know what normal work hours are? What the hours are?
9 to 5.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to see if you were going to say 10 to fucking 6 or some weird shit.
No. Well, I did do a 10-6 when I was at Toys R Us, but
I worked at Toys R Us for a day.
Toys R Us, I like working there. I got that job real young. But yeah, so like when my regular friends from uni and college and all that are not going to come out on a school night, which is what they call it. I don't know if we use that phrase in America, but we call it a school night, work night.
Yeah, school night, work night. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. So all my mates are like, we can't. They did it at the beginning or one off, but school nights where a lot of the stuff was going on, I had to make friends for school nights, so it was a little bit forced. But the thing is, I kept all of my regular friends, and it didn't matter how unfamous you think I am, or how famous you thought I was, or how famous I ever even got from that, whether it led to being on TV for good. These friends weren't going to go. So these famous people don't have famous friends. That is a myth. That's not how the world works at all. There's no way that somebody and their best friend both became famous. That's bullshit. That's not realistic at all. So everybody out there, every famous person has about 30 friends that are not famous at all. And that's the reality of the situation. So it's nothing to be. I have never once gone on and lauded like my friendship with anybody. And the thing is, it's the other thing I mentioned on the voice note. He's not. You guys, we talk about him mainly because we do a wrestling show. But the thing is that if we did a show about music, or we did a show about other reality shows, or we did a show about Paige, we do a show. We're going to have loads of celebrities on here, loads of girls that I'm friends with who are on television over the next 3-4 months. Like, you're actually going to see people with thousands and thousands of Instagram and Twitter followers coming onto this show. And then it will be relevant in terms of the other people that I know. But the thing is, we do talk about this person more. But it's never a boast, like who you're friends with. Like that, because if you're boasting about it, you're not friends with him. It's just somebody that they're celebrating that this person acknowledged them or knows them, which means that you can't be friends with them. Because the difference is when I know this is the big question. If they were friends with a person or anybody else, would they have the balls to criticize them?
Oh, if they were real friends, of course they would criticize.
Because we criticize each other all the time.
Of course,
right?
You wouldn't care what somebody would say.
We give Umar odors of racist sarcasm.
Yeah,
right? Because I know I can get away with it. Because
sure.
if you didn't know him,
you would never say it. Yeah, of course.
No, of course not. And I'm not legitimately racist. But it's funny, right? At the same way, I can critique. In fact, not only can I critique Drew, but I was told to. I was actually told that if you think something is shit, or if you don't agree with anything that I'm doing, please still text me, because I think that he thought that people would be like these guys, where it's like, oh my god, you made it.
Yeah, suck his dick constantly. Tell him everything he does is great.
But it's worse to do that at this point in time, because now is the time because otherwise, wouldn't everybody have gone to become Hogan once they got this push, if everything was done right from this point? Yeah,
of course.
But nobody's become Hogan, have they? Only one guy, which is Austin. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, that means that between now and 2001, I would say, everybody's push got fucked up by bad decisions.
Yeah, and you could tell that's when Austin was the only one, because he would fucking fight for shit. and do what he fucking felt was right for himself. And where the other guys are like, they're just afraid to be fucking fired.
Which is exactly where, like, ironically, which is exactly one of the things that I did do for Drew, which I can talk about, which was a case of, you got to go and fucking speak to them. Like, I was one of the people that were like, why do you know, they're all saying on these shows and that, and it's like, you're not going to be able to get another job. I was the one who's going, you'll be absolutely fine, whatever you do. Whether you go and say shit to them, they're either going to say no, and they're either going to like knock you back and you'll be in the same position you're in anyway, because they're not going to push you down the card because you're too big.
Yeah.
And so you're only going to be in the same position. Like, it's not going to hurt you to ask. And at the moment, if you become available, AEW will snap you up in seconds.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I said. Like I said, you can be absolutely fearless.
He's got them by the balls.
Which needed. And the thing is also, like, another thing people don't know is these guys don't read the dirt sheets. And in terms of when you're going up to them and saying, well, these guys have got this deal and these guys just got a 5-year deal. And these guys, like, they're not even granting releases for, like, the revival.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know what I mean? In terms of, you can give them the information to back up the fact when you say they're really desperate to not lose anyone right now.
I almost think of it like how, we're trying to figure out where Derek's fucking feeble mind is about my friend, and it's not really a friendship.
That's the main thing. Like I said, I'm just like, I don't want to come across as any way where it's like, oh, that's my friend, not your friend. I don't give a shit, like, at all. Like,
the question is that he's saying friend when he's fucking not. Not who's a better friend. It's craziness is what we're talking about.
Exactly. It's the psychological issue that I'm trying to understand. So, yeah.
So, do you remember, you watched SmackDown on Friday, right?
Yeah.
The guy that Corbin poured the drink on.
Right.
I know that guy.
It's got to be a plant.
Well, right? I know him.
Right.
He runs and owns the wrestling organization that I used to be in, APW. And he's friends. He used to manage Rusev, so he's good friends with him, and he runs the organization.
Oh my God! So you can be like my friend.
I could be my friend. So I'm thinking it's that same friendship. Like, I have the guy's number, and here and there I'll message him, and I've asked him to come on the show, and he was too busy because he was at SmackDown like a while back when they were here. Because I want to get his whole story on an interview, which I think would be really interesting. So he used to be a fan, and he took over the fucking organization. So I know him from there when he was in the audience. And so I don't often message him, but he's on my Facebook, shit like that, right? So I messaged him after I saw him on the screen because I was at SmackDown. And I see him get a drink, and I was like, oh, that was pretty fucking funny, and shit like that. And he just, I'm like, good shit, brother. And that's it. He just replied back with a laughing face, and that's it. So I'm like, is that relationship that fucking Derek has? I don't even, if it's that fucking much. And he's like, my good friend, where it's like, you messaged them once. What do you mean you're a good friend? You know of him.
No. Did he not say the love is?
Oh, he went crazy. Yeah, that was a little the love we share for each other. Like Drew is fucking way into being friends with him. Like, that's his really. It made it sound like he's like they text often and that they're really good fucking friends. And he's saying you need to come to fucking Tampa. It's fucking out there, man. It's like if that was the fucking truth, it was fucking madness. And it's so far off. It's fucking crazy.
It's not even possible. It's not remotely even possible that that's the truth.
Oh, you know what? And it would destroy him if like Drew fucking smacked him down and was like, what the fuck? What are you fucking talking about? Make him look like a real fucking dipshit. And I mean, obviously, Drew can't say this on fucking public on Twitter because that just gives him fucking publicity.
This is why it's pointless, because the thing, all that will happen is that whatever replies that he is getting, if any, and I don't think that he has any access to text him, to be honest, because when he reported us for what we did, that was through a Twitter DM. So you don't Twitter DM people if you have their number, first of all.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other story too. All that will really happen from this is that Drew would cut off the responses that he is giving anyway. So
Yeah.
I mean, Drew wouldn't be a confrontational person, which is why
he wouldn't. I mean, it's useless to have to message him and go, "What are you talking about?" Or
I honestly think there's more legs in it to just let this guy just keep pretending, and we just see how funny it gets, how crazy it gets, because it could turn into we did go to Tampa and we were in his hotel room that night when he's really not, when he's actually somewhere else. Well,
oh my God, I am going to fucking die if he tries to get to Tampa. And if he gets to Tampa, you've got to fucking search him out. You got to have that fake Twitter so you can see where he's at and all that shit, because he'll be posting because he has a fucking, try to be a fame whore. Hell, you should have fucking Drew message him and say, "Meet me somewhere," and then have you be in there. Now that's a fucking move.
The thing is that I'm so pressed for days. Like, I'm fucking, since this thing where Austin wants to go to WrestleCon, I'm now trying to work out how we can squeeze in Busch Gardens. And at the moment, this plan is so fucked. It's like, we're going to get from Orlando to Tampa, go to Busch Gardens for 4 hours, and then go to SmackDown. And then we're going to go WrestleCon on Saturday and then go to NXT. And then the Sunday before WrestleMania, the kind of day that is, we're going to have to finish the second half of Busch Gardens.
How long are you going there? For 2 weeks?
Yeah, for 2 weeks, but I'm in Tampa for 4 days.
Jesus Christ, God bless you. And you're going to come to Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'll see you again. I'll see you in Los Angeles. We're already like, yeah, we're going.
I got 4-day pass for Busch Gardens, and I'm only going to get there twice in 2 4-hour periods, because I've got NXT, SmackDown, and WrestleMania in the evenings. And then WrestleCon's now squeezing on Saturday. So only Friday and Sunday. And I really didn't want to go Busch Gardens on Sunday on the day of WrestleMania. And then on Monday, Drew's asked me to come to the his VIP access signing. And this is the thing, because I said to him, I want to get a picture with that belt on Monday.
Yeah.
And even he was like, I haven't got time to fucking, I ain't gonna have time to take a shit. I'll fix you. He goes, I'll hook you up with access. That would be the best place to come and see me.
Jesus Christ.
Because I mean, that's the thing. Like, and the thing is that for me, that kills 2 birds with 1 stone, because then I don't bother with the other accesses.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually better than going down to the hotel, because the other thing is, when I get down to if I go down to the wrestler's hotel,
yeah,
I ain't gonna get out of there, because I got a kid that's gonna want to sit in the lobby all day and get pictures while they come through. So that's gonna waste my other day. Whereas access is at least something that I can get him to.
I was gonna say, would he be able to have you be like, quote unquote, working for him at Access, but you got your kid with you, so you couldn't even just do that to where you were the ones, passing the things back and forth for him to sign, so you could at least hang out with him and talk in the meantime or something, other than how you doing, see you later.
I think I was half finishing the story earlier where, like, so I told you he sent Austin the action figures. So I sent him this thing going, "Have you seen your Royal Rumble plaque?" And he was like, "Oh," he goes, "that's so good." He goes, "They never send us stuff like that, just the toys." I was like, "Oh," because did you want me to? I goes, "Well, I'm ordering mine today." He goes, "Can you pick me up an extra couple and I'll give you the money?"
Jesus.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll pick them. This is the thing. I'm always buying him stuff that he doesn't get given. So, and I always meet him here for it. So he goes, "Grab me a 2." I said, "Well, I'm not taking this glass frame to the US." So
it's glass?
Yeah.
Huh. It's not like the Mania plaques.
Yeah. So I said, I'll get it to you on the UK. I'll get it to you on the UK toy. He's like, "Yeah, it's fine, because that'll be easy," because he goes, it's only for my dad anyways. So, and that's the other thing. Like, I posted shit out to his dad before, which like, I had to post him out those calendars as well. But it's weird because they don't get a lot of stuff. They only get given like excess shit.
That's so weird.
Yeah, this is the plaque that we're talking about. So I'm going to pick up one. I'm going to do this now, actually, because and also finally, this week he says to me he is getting a new T-shirt. Like I said, it's just been delayed with the design.
Well, I saw that. Was that the one he was wearing on Monday? Because I was going to say, hey, he got a T-shirt.
No, that's his old. No, that's his old T-shirt. He said he was like, he said he was Just going to put that on because he's fed up now of the of waiting. But I just said, you're probably waiting because you weren't supposed to win the Rumble, right? Which is probably true, isn't it? Because otherwise, if he was meant to, they'd have that T-shirt out.
Oh, they'd been set, ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So, your guy just texted with.
I just saw it right now. Yeah. our gambling guy. Well,
he's been bad lately, so I'm hoping that.
Yeah, I lost some money the other day on him. I'm like, come on.
Oh, let me send you this thing while we're still on it, so you
Yeah.
can see what I'm talking about. So I don't know if you've seen these now. They come out after every pay-per-view.
Really, that's interesting. See, I haven't even seen anything. All I've seen is Mania map plaques.
Where the fuck am I? Oh, here we go. How am I going to get it to you? Because it's in a text message. All right, okay.
Yeah.
You can WhatsApp it. Here they are. These are the new things.
Okay, here it is.
But they still have the Mania things, except the Mania things are bigger and they're signed. These are just pieces of the map plaque.
Okay.
And they come out. And these come out after every pay-per-view.
And that's it's a frame thing with glass across the middle. Okay, so no wonder. Yeah, I could see that.
So I say to him, like, I'll get it for you, but I'm not bringing it to the to the States. I mean, alternatively.
So he's signing all these apparently, all right?
No, he's not signing them.
Really? They're not all signed?
No, they're just matte plaque.
Ah, shit.
That's why it's so cheap.
Fuck, I want the fucking signature on it, of course.
Well, I'll get mine signed.
Yeah.
But that's the thing I don't want to bring up. But the thing is, if he wants any quicker, then his closest friend, Derek, can get him one. Pick him up one and bring him across.
Yeah, I was trying to ask Brad Pitt for a seat at the Oscars, but he already had given it to his ma, so I couldn't go.
Wasn't that Keanu Reeves?
Who? His mother?
Didn't Keanu Reeves take his mom?
Pitt's been taking his mom lately to everywhere, too, because he's like, if I go with anyone, they're going to think I'm dating. They're going to soon think I'm dating my mother.
Wait, is he broken up with Angelina Jolie?
Oh, fucking 100 years ago.
I didn't know that.
Oh, fuck. He's been doing the rounds, baby.
Is that why the rumors are there about him getting back with, like, Jennifer Aniston?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's ridiculous. So, but yeah, he's been spreading his seeds all over the place. Yeah. So,
what you should do is Brad Pitt, like,
Yeah.
There's actually
go
a fucking saying about him. Go, when people say, like, who do you think you are, Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Like, when you're the person in that sentence, like, you got to be like fucking about.
And he has not hit any walls. Every stitch of hair still handsome devil. Man, this motherfucker has to be some life. You imagine what his cock has been through.
What's his new? Oh my god! Like they're bringing out T-shirts for St. Patrick's Day.
For what?
70. Oh, I just seen them. WWE shop Austin 317.
Oh, that Jesus Christ! Yeah.
The Man in an Irish Bowler Club. Killian. That's all these Irish people.
Everything's in fucking green shit. Yeah.
Except Austin's got. So they got IWO Irish World. Like these.
Oh boy.
These company are, and they bought out the T-shirt from what Matt Riddle said on NXT, where he's like, "How much fish could Bobby Fish fry? Bobby Fish could fry fish." Did you see that on NXT?
I did watch that part actually, and I haven't watched NXT in ages, but I actually tuned in to see that, and I turned it off before Velveteen Dream even showed up. I didn't even know. I was like, "Oh shit!" I turned off that fucking match. I was bored.
I'm trying to work out like where they're going for their takeover for Mania now, because I have tickets for that, and usually it's supposed to be the most like in demand show of the weekend. So
yeah, I mean, we saw the best when we were there. When Drew gave us a ticket, when I got in trouble. All right, well, let's end this show. It's been an hour and 45 minutes, actually. Everybody, that's what you've gotten from us. A lot of.
Did you pull up any of that? Did you pull up any of that rapey Lana content?
Oh God, I would never be able to find on Steel Cage. Trying to go back to find that shit. What are you out of your mind?
I thought you did like a show where you mocked him and then pulled up audio for your own show. That's why I was thought what happened.
I mean, I interview him, so I'm going to go back into my interview and I'll pull parts of that because I know exactly where it is. But that's the only thing I'm aware of.
Yeah, I'm wondering then what audio you can send across to like Arizona Sports and be like, do you really like seriously hire this man?
Yeah, that might be our new mission.
Because the thing is that even on a personal level, like I've always wanted to get back at him for the Twitter thing and all that kind of shit where he jumped on the bandwagon for that. This is nothing to do with that. This is just an acknowledgement of how sad he is. And the thing is that you have to kind of tie in everybody. But the thing is, what I noticed is that I do feel, to their credit, and I'm not just like, even though they're not my cup of tea in terms of socializing with them, I noticed that not everybody else was joining in and with this lie. Did you?
Yeah, they didn't.
And isn't it funny, right? So that it's him that got the texts when it wasn't his podcast. Like, if the year that it was being set up, where
they probably lies to all of them. They don't know.
But the year that I was, the year that he did WrestleCon and I wasn't there, that was set up through Josh, because Josh is the owner who was paying for the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is it always, oh, he knows me and we're in love, we got man love and all? I mean, that's a pathetic, that's Jesus. A sad thing. Do you know what? That's a sad thing to say anyway. Like, I don't come in, at no point in any show have I said, oh, the love between like me and Cav, or the love between me and any man is like, it's like this or whatever. It's like,
well, now I'm going to start saying it. I'm going to have to.
That's just fucking
oh my
weird.
God. What a fucking psychopath. What a sociopath. Oh,
I bet he doesn't have the balls to like take you to fuck off now.
Oh, he would never have the ball. And you know what? I was trying to find a Twitter that hasn't been blocked. I wanted to tweet, and I told Fausti today, I wanted to tweet if the Steel Cage, at the Steel Cage, had any fucking balls, they would have Billy and Cav on to confront fucking Josh and Derek. You know what a great show that would be, but they're such fucking non-showmen, and they're terrified.
Josh is not on that show, though, is he?
No, he was.
Josh was on. I didn't hear him at all.
Yeah, he was. It was him, Derek, and some other nerd that I've never heard before.
Well, that was Brian. I could hear Brian. I didn't hear Josh at all.
Yeah, he was there. But I'm like, that would be the greatest show ever. And that would pop their fucking numbers like a motherfucker. And I don't even mind if it was on their fucking channel. I don't care. Because the man would not have the fucking balls to talk to me. There is not a chance. He'd still be scared. Obviously, face-to-face, a billion times would never happen. More so of a chance when it's over a phone like this, because then you don't have to see nobody.
I went looking for him with my wrestling friend in New Orleans.
Yeah.
When I was with I was with Luke, wasn't I?
Yeah, and I've only seen him once, and that was in San Jose, but that was when we were on good terms, and I just sat there and talked to him. Now I'm like, fuck. And because I remember I kept saying I was going to go find him and get him an ice cream.
Well, that's the thing. Me and Luke even went to like places where we thought they were going to be. So like we actually went to the bars where we heard that they were going to go. So, and then they just didn't happen to be. I honestly think at that point they just went home.
Yeah, I think they're very scared. And because they don't know how to fucking entertain and pop numbers and ratings and shit, they would never take that suggestion. If you're not blocked by 50 different fucking accounts, you're probably not blocked by Steel Cage. So why don't you tweet them and say, and you know what, to our fans, at the Steel Cage, tweet them and say, you guys don't have the fucking balls to have Billy and Cav on your show to confront you. Tell him, because if enough people fucking hound him about it, I mean, he'll just block everybody. But I want them to know that we're sitting there willing and able, and I'm sure that he's listening to this because, he loves to hear his fucking name. So,
he is listening, because if it wasn't for our show, they wouldn't even have had this podcast. They weren't going to do a podcast about the Royal Rumble because nobody listens. That podcast, that's the other thing, right? In terms of, okay, so we are... Just to finish up, we are looking at this in terms of saying that he's psychotic and all that. But everything he said on that show, he knew we were going to hear it. Because he knew that we knew they hadn't put a show up for months.
Mm-hmm. And you know what their thing will be? Look, they're still listening to us and find us. I'm like, yeah, I got no problem to say, yeah, I sought it out to see if they fucking suck Drew's dick. And that's the reason I sought it out. I haven't looked before that, but how did I fucking know that's what was going to be said? And that's what I sought it out for, and that's exactly what the fuck I got to hear. So you can't really fucking say much to us about it. Yeah, but we challenge you if you want to do fucking mouth to ear resuscitation and have us on a fucking show. Let's go, big man. Let's go, fucking little boy Baldy. We'll fucking see what happens. We'll push your fucking horse teeth back into your mouth. You can't take. They couldn't take the fucking heat. There's not a fucking chance in hell he could take the heat. And like I said, hey, I let shit go if he fucking apologized. Apologize. So that's it, Billy. We've done almost 2 hours. And we hope everybody's enjoyed our letting you know what the truth is about Mr. Derek Montilla, the horse-tooth jackass himself. So tune in next week. We're going to have a separate man show and a wrestling show for you, and we're going to have a special guest that after we talk to them on the show, Billy, they will be known as my friend, just so you know.
Georgie Darby. You can have a look at, have a little Google of her.
Okay, I gotta see my future friend, as my best friend, Gigi Petite as well. All right, I've been Cav. He's been Billy. We'll see you next week.